What's up, cousin? If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you please consider subscribing and joining the family? All you got to do is hit that red subscribe button right there. It only take a second. It don't cost you nothing. It's free. If you're enjoying the content and you roll with your boy, go ahead and subscribe. It's very important that we subscribe because I'm trying to grow the channel and I can't do it without y'all. So I really would appreciate it if you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 20K. That's my goal, but I'll take 100K. You know, while you at it, might as well hit that bell notification so you'll be the first one to know whenever I'm dropping another video. I mean, well, technically you won't be the first person to know because everybody who hit the bell notification gonna be the first people to know, but you'll be in the first peoples that know. Yeah. So let's get back to the video. I love y'all. Yeah. I know you see me on television, I know you see me on your YouTube, but you don't know me in real life, little homie. You better play it cool. Never let your left hand know what your right hand finna do, cause they gon' study your every move, try to imitate what you about to do. This here is the gang gang, we don't rock with you if I ain't feeling you. I've been on top since I started, dog, and I ain't finna move. The last days of Signal 23 TV was crazy to say the least. I mean, I don't even know where to begin, and I'll try to make it short as possible. For some of y'all that may not know, I'm an actor, and I starred in some very, very popular web series that pretty much just went viral, and a lot of people got to know me from the web series that I did. But the last days of Signal 23 was insane, and it took a really unexpected turn. I never really talked about this with anybody, you know, but I figured this would be the best platform to talk about it because it's my platform. And a lot of people have been asking me, and I just believe that I owe the fans who was supporting the show that I was on at the time, called Tex Brown. Pretty much, you know, if you've seen my other video where I talked about the episode of Tex Brown, which was the first episode when I was in jail and I did the sex scene and things like that. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check out that video. That wasn't the reason why I quit Signal 23 TV and Tex Brown the series. And I don't even think Henderson knows this because we really never talked after the incident happened. Pretty much, Tex Brown, I felt like, was a back burner show. I felt like at the time we were also filming About Him season 2, and there was so much going on with the original writer of the book, Tyson Anthony, and Henderson Maddox, who pretty much created About Him, the series. Now, if you know my character, Tex Brown was not originally in the book. If you read the book, my character Tex wasn't in it. The way I ended up on About Him, the way I ended up on About Him was, at the time, I was filming a show called Free Fall. How I know Henderson was, before I started acting, I was doing a lot of screenwriting and things like that, and I got a chance to work with Grand Hustle Films, who asked me to write a film about a rapper named Dobie. I wrote the script. The script turned out dope. And I was trying to get a director attached to the script. I was asking around to different people, and everybody said, you know, do you know Mr. 23? I never heard of Mr. 23, who is Henderson, but his name came up a few times while I was asking different people in the camp. At the time, he was filming another movie in Atlanta that starred some local talent, and I think T.I. Son was also in it. So a lot of people knew about him, and they was like, you know, you should reach out to him. It'd probably be dope if he could, you know, everybody was saying he was dope. So I said, cool. I got his information and I reached out to him. We communicated back and forth. I sent him the script. He loved the script. He said that he was willing to work on it. You know, he wanted to do the movie. You know, we was thinking about how we was going, you know, the budgets and everything like that. So we developed a relationship like that in the beginning. I was hiring him to direct a film that I was writing and producing. So we talked back and forth about, you know, the movie and the script and things like that. And we came pretty cool. You know, at the time, he didn't live in Atlanta. He lived in LA. So we were talking. He was a school teacher at the time, and I would say that I gave him a lot of encouragement just as a friend. I knew his passion. I knew that he really wanted to, you know, pursue film full time. And, you know, when you in a job that you may love what you do, teaching and doing things like that, but your real passion, if you're not really doing your full real passion, you're never going to be 100% happy. And I understood that he was going through some things. At the time, you know, when I met him, he was, at one point, he was homeless, sleeping out of his car. He wanted to move back to Atlanta. I encouraged him, like, you should move back to Atlanta and do your thing. He also told me that he had a show that he was doing, a reality show. He was coming back to film season 2. And I said that was dope and things like that. You know, when he came back to film the show, something happened with the main character. I guess he was also one of the creators, Larry. He was in the show. He just dropped out of it unexpectedly. So the main cast, or the main person who was a part of the cast, him and his husband, they wasn't going to be a part of it. So Henderson was kind of upset about that, but he had already came there and he needed to make the show work. So I guess he started, you know, casting and trying to replace people. He had found some other people, and he pretty much asked me, like, you know, you should come and film on my reality show, Boys Next Door, ATL. Now, when he asked me, I said no. Yeah, I was like, nah, I ain't about to do no reality show. I don't even know the people. You know, at the time, I was already acting on Freefall. And he was like, well, it ain't going to be too bad. Just come through. Think about it. You know, he said, we doing a pajama party, you know, for the first day of filming. He said, you should come through. I said, a pajama party? Like, I ain't about to come to no pajama party. I ain't about to wear no pajamas nowhere. And he was like, I was like, what type of grown people having a pajama party? He was like, it's just for the show and things like that. So, you know, if you could come through, because I felt like, you know, let me look out for him. We gonna be building a work relationship, and we've been pretty cool. We were starting to build a friendship. I said I would do it. I said, you know, I'll come, but I ain't wearing the pajamas. I'll come check it out. And if the setting and the vibe is cool, I'll switch into pajamas and I'll, you know, come be on the show. Not necessarily as the lead on the show, but just background, just to fill up the party and things like that. So I did that as a favor for Henderson. It wasn't no money involved or anything like that. No contracts involved or nothing. I just came as a favor because I knew he needed some people. So I show up. If y'all seen, you know, anything about Boys Next Door ATL, you see me on the first episode, and that's when I got into it with KJ, and all that got filmed. So it pretty much put me on the show because I was a main part of the first episode. So I just continued to film with it. You know, I didn't know the guys or anybody there. So it was kind of awkward, getting scenes. My main objective with filming Boys Next Door ATL is I wanted to show my life as an actor, as a writer, situation that I was going through with this girl that I was talking to at the time, just real life things. I didn't really want to film with the rest of the crew because I didn't know them. It wasn't real friendships, I never hung out with gay people, and that was really not my life. It would have been fake, pretty much. Even meeting up with KJ and the things that I did, I probably wouldn't have never did those things in real life because I probably would have never been around him. But long story short, I did it as a favor for Henderson. To me, we were friends, even though I knew that Henderson liked me some type of way. It was times that, he would be like, what's up? We were supposed to meet up. One time we actually did meet up. He came to my crib in Camp Creek, and some things happened where he was trying to mess around with me. Nothing happened. I stopped it, but I felt like if I wanted it to happen, it could have happened. But Henderson wasn't somebody that I was attracted to, so I didn't even really want to play the game, as far as like getting involved with somebody, that I knew I wasn't attracted to. So I kind of pretty much threw that to the side and just continued on building our friendship and our working relationship. Now, back to Tex Brown. I was filming for the Boys Next Door, and I wanted Henderson to get me acting. I wanted him to show me doing my things in Atlanta for the show. So he said, well, we could come on set of you filming your show Free Fall that I was in, season 3 of Free Fall, and that's a Lamont Pierre show. Some of y'all might be familiar with it. He said we could come and film you on on set, so we could have that footage. I told Lamont, that we was going to film, and I don't know if Lamont felt the type of way about it, but they said we could do it, and then when the camera crew showed up, he was like, oh, we ain't ready. The other actors didn't want to be on camera, and it was just a big mess. And Henderson pretty much was like, I ain't got time for that. I'm not about to kiss nobody but to, film. And he was like, it ain't about Lamont, it's about you. We wouldn't even have to get him. So Henderson pretty much was like, forget that. I'll write you in on about him, and we could film that for Boys Next Door, if y'all follow me. So he was like, I'll just write a little piece for you and we'll film it. And that's pretty much what we did. The whole scene with me in the car with the lead character that was played by Brandon Carson, that was all written in pretty much just so I can have something for Boys Next Door. When the episode came out, it was a good episode. I think a lot of people liked it. My character that I played, the older guy who was kind of like teaching him and schooling him and things like that. So it was a good episode, but that was pretty much the only episode I was in the first season about him. But it was kind of like a breakout role. People liked the character Tex, and I ended up being in the season finale, which was the 90-minute episode. Y'all follow me? Good. So, long story short, that's how Tex came about. Henderson came up with the character name Tex and things like that. While we was working and doing things like that, I was just doing other little stuff with them, still filming Boys Next Door and things like that until that fell through. And Henderson said, we could do your own show if you want. It could be a spinoff, with Tex. Now, the show was supposed to come out before season 2 of about him, but I think with all the things that was going on, and I think Henderson really wanted to just get season 2 out and just prove that he's the best. I did this my thing, and I'm gonna show y'all. I don't think anybody expected about him to do what he did. I mean, when it first came out, we went on a little tour, and it wasn't nobody there pretty much. Nobody knew. I mean, the second time we went around, it was packed. Everybody knew our names. I mean, people was like Tex and, you know, calling everybody by their character names, and it was really amazing. The show really went viral and it did really well, which put a lot of pressure on Henderson to even make the second one better. Now, by this time that season 2 was ready to film, Brandon had already quit, and you know, it was a whole bunch of things going on with Signal 23. But like I said, I remained loyal because Henderson was my friend. Not only did we talk about business and doing movies and things together, you know, we talked about personal things, you know, him sharing his situation and his passion and his drive. I felt for him, and I understood that. We were, you know, closer in age, older than a lot of the other actors. So I seen a lot of the stuff that Henderson had to go through. You know what I mean? I seen him really looking out for a lot of the characters and extras and everything. And a lot of times I didn't think it was professional. I think that he was overstepping his boundaries. Instead of just being a boss, he was being a friend to some of them. Some of them talked to him like he was cool and things like that. Like other sets that I had been on was way more professional. It was lines that you didn't cross. This is the director, and it's just that. But Henderson would play with him, joke with him, you know. It was a really relaxed set and things like that. I didn't like the relaxed set because a lot of times where I come from in production, and it was always time is everything. Let's get this done. Let's knock it out. Like, I don't need a lot of playing and talking. We here to film, and let's do that. But that wasn't the type of set we was on. You know, it wasn't my company, so I just kind of went with the flow. Even though I was annoyed sometimes, I always stayed professional and did what I had to do, you know. So when it was time to shoot Tex Brown, we were also filming about him season 2, like I told you. And I felt like Henderson was pulling all the stops for About Him season 2 because, like I said, he had something to prove with that show. It was the #1 show first, and he had to make sure that season 2 was turned up even more. I mean, he got Robin Givens and other local talent, and you know, I don't know everybody's name, but I know he put a lot into it. I mean, he was getting wigs for people and costumes and makeup and everything. My show, I felt like it was just like, okay, we're going to do your show in between times, in the meantime, you know, whenever we got extra time, you know, wasn't nobody special hired for my show or nothing like that. And I felt some type of way about it. You know, I would say like, well, why don't you put my show in position to do well as you're doing, you know, what about him? And I even asked him one time, you know, I was like, why I ain't getting, you know, Robin Givens or nobody big on my show, you know? And he was like, you the star, you got to make your show hot, you know? And I was like, okay, but I still felt like, you know, give me the extra names too. Give me that extra push. I'm a new show. About Him is already successful. People going to already watch that. So, you know, give my show the same opportunities to do what it was supposed to do. So a lot of times I just felt like, okay, we just doing this because, you know, a lot of other people left and I'm the only star pretty much left, you know. Besides, I think Gary was still there. You know, I'm next in line, you know, to do what it do. I'm not sure if Rico was there. I think Rico was still there. They was doing another show with Rico. But, so we filming. Now, the first day that I was filming, you know, Tex Brown, you already know it was the jail scene and things like that. We got that done. Those scenes were done. I done moved on past it. Even though I felt some type of way about, you know, Henderson asking me, you know, to do the sex scene and really pulling out my penis, I still tried to remain loyal and still do a great job because I like Tex Brown, the show. Now, the show was made by Henderson, but I helped create it. Once we decided to, you know, do a whole season of it, you know, I put a lot of my real life into the story just to give the character depth. You know, a lot of the stuff about him being in jail, that was already in it. But the relationship with Tex's mother and him as a kid and being molested and all those things like that, those things came from my real life that I added to the show. So it was a show that we came up with together, you know, and I was really happy and excited to show some of the struggles that a little boy goes through with his family and feeling lost and things like that. And I have to admit, it was a great show. Still to this day, Tex Brown is the favorite show that I had done. I went out of my way to get some people casted. Brandy, who played my mother, you know, I really wanted to work with her. I thought she would play my mother good, so I referred her to Henderson, and we had the little boy, and it was just set up to be a dope show if we stayed with the context and the depth of the character. You know, I knew the sex scenes was important to Signal 23. I knew that every episode would have a sex scene because that was pretty much the formula and the format of Signal 23. You know, I feel like, you know, the sex scenes is what drove the show a lot of times. You know, they would promote those things and, you know, people, sex sells, you know, and Henderson knew his formula. A lot of times other directors and people would talk bad about Henderson, and I would go up to bat for him like, why y'all hating? Y'all just mad because he number one. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do y'all thing, and, you know, don't be hating. You know, so I was very loyal. Like I say, when we got to maybe like third or fourth episode, I think when Tay the Duck comes in, Tay was coming in to film, I think, on About Him or something. He wasn't originally supposed to be a part of my show, but something happened, or, you know, they suggested that, you know, with Tay in town, so let's use him for Tex Brown. I didn't know who Tay the Duck was. The casting director told me who he was, and I was like, well, okay, you know, yeah, it's gonna be a love interest. That's cool. I met Tay. He was cool. We worked well together and things like that. We filmed our episodes, and everything was great. But, you know, before that, there was also some things that I just didn't appreciate as far as like on set. Now, at the time, I was going through my own issues, financial issues. I had to hold it down on my own, you know, working a job, filming all the time, expensive rent, just a lot of things going on with my family and my brother's passing, having to, you know, help out with the family and take trips back and forth to Cleveland. It just became very expensive to me. At the time, we were filming at a house that was far out. I never was in control of locations and things like that. Most of the times, our locations will be in the city, or, you know, it'll be about $10, $15 Uber ride at the most. I always cover my own transportation. Even though I seen Henderson take care of other people's transportation, other actors, extras, many times he came out of his own pocket for that. I never asked him for nothing. I was very self-sufficient, always on time, and always came to set on my own. But this time we were filming at a house that was so far out. If you from Georgia, you know the train only goes so far. You know, this house was way in the backwoods somewhere. I caught an Uber there. The Uber was almost $40 one way, and the Uber back $80. We was filming there for about 3 or 4 days. A couple times that I went, you know, I didn't even get to film. So it was a waste of money, and it was very annoying to me. You know, things got caught up. It would be like, well, we just could do it tomorrow. You know, nobody ever paid attention to my financials or considered anything like that. And it was annoying and unprofessional for me to come way out there, you know, sometimes staying to the wee hours of the morning, even when I had to go to work at 5:30 in the morning. But it wasn't because we were shooting, and really a lot of times it was a lot of downtime and playing and just waiting around and waiting on, it was just not professional. So that was annoying to me. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that I went out there, spent money, and didn't get the film, that was annoying. So I'm coming out of my pockets. As a web star actor, or, you know, a actor in a web series, you don't get paid that much. So we had contracts that already said what we was paid. Any money that I pay for transportation is pretty much coming out of the pay that they giving me, which isn't that much. So if I'm paying $80 on Uber rides, couple hundred in a week, that's pretty much taking up the majority of pretty much what I was getting paid, you know. But I still tried to hold it down, stay professional, not only because I'm a professional dude, because Henderson was a friend. I considered him a friend, even though, you know, I felt some type of way about the jail scene. I still had love for him, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to add any extra pressure or anything like that on anybody else, which I should have, you know, just came out and said it instead of just doing it. But I did that. So long story short, me and Tater Doug, we filmed our sex scenes. You know, I think we filmed 2 sex scenes. I was happy with it. And, you know, the episodes was going on. Now, never mind you that when the first episode of Tex Brown came out, it was a hit. It did very well. I think I was #1. We got up and everybody was celebrating like, yo, your show #1. It did very well, and I was very excited. It even did better than About Him season 2. And I felt good about that because I felt like, yeah, you know, don't underestimate me. I'm a star. You know what I'm saying? I've been a star before Signal. I've been a star my whole life. You know, whether it's music, producing, writing songs, anything, I've always been great, you know. So this is just an extension of my greatness. You know, I know for Henderson, he felt like a lot of the actors was just mediocre, and he made it what it is. You know, he was very talented in that way. He could take some crappy acting, cut it up, edit it, and make it look the way he wanted to look. And he would say it many times, like, I ain't worried about it. Like, when I put my touch on it, it'll be hot. He was very arrogant when it came to knowing what he did. He knew that he was one of the best. And I do agree. I think Henderson is very talented. When he's focused and really passionate about something, he's going to kill it. You know, I think he got caught up in the money, and he had a lot going on, getting apartment buildings and living in the high rise downtown, and got a studio, and he had to keep this money coming in. And if he didn't produce shows, how he gonna get paid, you know? And for the most part, he had to use us because we were the ones who were popular from About Him season 1. So yeah, when we went to Miami to film another movie. Henderson told me, you know, instead of doing, you know, maybe 10 episodes of About, and we're going to take it up to 18. I was excited about it because I said, yeah, you know, we got more time and more room to really expand on the character and show what's really going on. I mean, I wanted some episodes where it wasn't even me in it. I wanted it just to be the little boy and his relationship as a kid and him running away in the streets. And I don't think Henderson was concerned about this story as much as I was, because all he was concerned about was what made money. And that was the sex scenes, you know. So we filming the sex scene. I filmed the sex scenes with Tater Doug. They went good, and I went home, and everything was fine. Henderson gives me a call, and he says, you know, I think we should do another sex scene with Tater Doug. And I was like, another one? We just filmed 2 sex scenes. What we need another one for? And he was like, well, you know, I'm trying to get as much work of him, you know, right here. You know, let's do another one. And I'm like, nah, man, like, I don't want to do another sex scene. He was like, you know, it could be a sex scene with you, him, and Gary, a threesome. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not trying to do no sex scene with Gary. He was like, why not? I was like, man, for one, Gary like 7 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? It just don't look right on camera. That's what I said at the time. And I'm like, I just don't want to do it. It's like, we got enough sex scene. Let's stay focused on, you know, the story and things like that. I don't think Henderson like that. I think Henderson is like, this my company, you working and this and that. And if I want to do something, you should just do it. And I think a lot of people that he worked with just did it because they probably wasn't in a position to say no. For me, I was in a position, nobody did nothing for me. You know, I just felt like I don't want to do it. I don't feel like it goes with the story. I don't want to film another sex scene. And I think he was very annoyed by that. You know, matter of fact, I could tell he was annoyed. You know, he was like, well, we could do it. And I was like, nah, man, let's just, you know, finish doing what we was doing. He was like, okay, whatever, you know, we get off the phone. But I knew he felt some type of way about it. But at the time, I really didn't care. You know, I'm like, I done did my job. You know, you said one sex scene per episode. That's that. Yeah, now we don't need two in the episode. So, long story short, and I'm trying to make it short for real. I know I've been going on and on, but